So I've been told to watch myself interviewing Ant and Dec on the Big Breakfast Bed way back in 1996. They just brought out a record as Ant and Dec, not as PJ and Duncan, so this was a big deal. And they had just signed a contract with Channel 4 to be television presenters, not actors in Byker Grove anymore. This is what happened.
Forever, forever, falling in love's gonna be forever, forever, together, falling in love's gonna be forever.
So the song's called When I Fall in Love, and obviously the entire nation has already fallen in love with them in 1996, but it's a love affair that's only going to get deeper and deeper, and they look so sweet in the video. They just look so cute. Can they actually dance? Who cares? It's Ant and Dec, for heaven's sake.
Well, I'm one of the most envied ladies in Britain this morning. Even my own children will not speak to me this morning. My children shun and spurn me. That's because I'm with two of the most desired and desirable men in the country. However, to me, they look as though they should be at kindergarten. How old are you, for goodness sake? How old are you, anyway?
21.
21, and you're so...
So at this point, Ant and Dec are 21, and I was only, how old was I at this point? I think in 1996, I was only 34. It was a long, long time ago, wasn't it? So they were 21, but they're already, as you can see, seasoned professionals, and they really do know how to conduct an interview. Plus, they are irresistibly charming. They still are, and they are just the boys who have grown into the men, who have grown into the fathers they are today, and you can see this all happening here, and it's a real masterclass in how to behave on a television interview.
But you're so fresh-faced and
Not as smart as that.
innocent looking.
It's all moisturiser, you know.
I did see a bit of touche éclat going on under your eyes.
Got to be done this morning.
Yeah. I hear you're always the last to leave any premiere party.
That coming out of the blue. Are we?
Apparently you are. You're party goers.
We like a bit of a party now and again.
Yeah.
I have to say.
I think you have to, really, though, don't you?
Why?
So you just think, they're the last to leave any showbiz party. Why do I ask them that? Because I'd heard this from numerous sources at the time. You want to go to a party and you want to see who the last people to leave are. It's always Ant and Dec. But they're 21. Why should they go home? They don't have to go home and have a nice cosy cup of cocoa, do they? What would they do that for?
Well, you've just got to enjoy yourself. It's no good working all day and working hard, as we do, don't we, Vanessa?
Yes, we slog.
We do.
And suffer.
And you've got to enjoy it.
Yeah. So you really are. So this Byker Grove malarkey, I mean, you
Yeah.
didn't know that you were going to end up being the hottest duo since Morecambe and Wise, did you? When you
So this is rather sweet. So I say, you didn't know you were going to be the hottest duo since Morecambe and Wise, and they laugh uproariously. But then what do they go on to become? The hottest duo since Morecambe and Wise. And you might say hotter, a lot hotter than Morecambe and Wise ever were, and a lot richer, and a lot more popular, and they've won 1 million more gongs and awards and prizes than Morecambe and Wise ever notched up. So here I am, Mystic Feltz, predicting the future.
You started off as infant actors in that,
Yeah.
and what happened? You just bonded immediately, apparently. It was Newcastle United that did it, right?
That was it.
That
was it. Anne sent me a Christmas card about 7 years ago or something, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had 2 decks, Happy Christmas from Ant. P.S. Fancy going to the Swindon game on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So we went, just kept going to the match, and we became really good friends, and that was it, really.
And when was it clear that your career was going to take off as a duo, that you were going to be the Skinner and Baddiel of the younger generation? When was that going to...
How many more duos have you got?
I don't know.
Just call them the Skinner and Baddiel, and Ant shoots back beautifully. How many more duos have you got? He's quite right. They're very cool, very calm, very likeable, and incredibly witty. There's no scriptwriter sorting them out here. They're doing it entirely for themselves, and they are doing an absolutely bang-up job.
I can only think of Peters and Lee, and somehow it's not appropriate, is it? Otherwise I would say...
Okay, so he says, how many more duos have you got? I say, I could use Peters and Lee, but somehow that's not appropriate. Now, if you're of a certain vintage, you'll know who Peters and Lee are. If you're not, you won't. Peters and Lee were a singing duo. He was a bloke, she was a girl. She had long blonde hair. He had dark glasses. I think maybe he was partially sighted or maybe couldn't see at all. And they were on Opportunity Knocks with the late, great Hughie Green. And they sang, among other things, a wonderful song called Welcome Home. Welcome home, welcome, come on in and close the door. That was Peters and Lee, and I'm saying to them, you're the Peters and Lee of the comedy world, and they're laughing because obviously they're nothing like Peters and Lee at all.
Tom and Jerry would be good, yes.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, we never.
Laurel and Hardy, that would be
We
good.
never
Oh,
planned
Laurel
it,
and
did
Hardy.
we, really? It just sort of happened, all by mistake, really. The whole pop career and stuff just happened, took off without us doing anything, really. I mean, it was just people writing into the show and liking the song we'd done that's basically helped us get a career.
So one of the hallmarks of Ant and Dec, as we've all come to know and love, is they're very modest. They're very understated. They don't look like really big bollocks, you know, swaggering around and, you know, getting above and beyond themselves and thinking they're any great shakes. And that is what they're like in real life. I've met them many, many times. I've worked with them loads and loads of times. And no matter how famous they are, no matter how successful, they do stay that way. That's just how they really are. And you can see it there. They're you know, they're playing it down. They're very cool. They're very understated. And they're not show-offs. They're just not.
Career.
And it was the song they couldn't not release, wasn't it? They couldn't. They had to just give in to public demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know why. I don't know
Three
why.
7-year-olds wrote in and said, we're desperate.
That was about it. Launched our career.
So you were
Mum.
PJ and Duncan, but you don't like being called that anymore.
Well, that's all gone now.
That's
It's,
all a long time ago.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, the
Gone to a
reason
better
that
place.
you're here today is because you're now unzipped,
So to speak.
which for me is a very pleasurable thing. And for all of those at home, we can't show it because it's a family show, but it's very, very nice.
It is there.
Tell us about the Unzipped show.
Well, of course, we had a couple of series on the BBC, the Ant and Dec show, and we've sort of moved channels now. We're over on Channel 4.
Does that mean they paid you an enormous amount of money to move over?
No, not really. It was all about the art and about.
See, look at that beautiful answer. They moved from the BBC to Channel 4. I say it's because they paid you a huge amount of money. And without even a hesitation, Dec goes straight into, no, it wasn't that at all. It was all about the art. They are very, very good at being self-deprecating. And that is because they are self-deprecating. I don't think they are any big shakes. I think they think they're lucky. And they've continued somehow to manage to feel that way.
It's all about the show, you know.
Yeah.
It's all about the
And
quality.
a huge amount of cash, presumably.
Well,
Have you got one of
well,
those golden handcuffs? And if so, can I see it?
No, we haven't.
So,
Those are
what is
the
the
fair
content of the show, in case there's anyone in the nation who hasn't seen you do
Well,
it?
it's kind of like an old-style variety show, but sort of with tongue-in-cheek.
Who gets all the funniest lines?
Me, I think.
It's just because you're funny, though, isn't it?
Oh, I probably are.
Do you feel a bit browned off about it, Dec?
You are?
Does it brown you off?
Oh no. You know, I'm always there in the background, but
Who gets all the best-looking women?
Oh, that's me.
That's
Sorry.
you.
So Ant gets all the best jokes and Dec's cool with it. And who gets the best looking women? Ant, and Dec's cool with it. I wonder whether they both know that's not really true. I'm not sure, but they're really good mates, as you can see.
And my name's first
Who
as well,
sings
you know.
better?
Oh, that's me as well.
And who's got the most star quality? Let's put it this way.
Come on, then.
Who is
Who's
the
the
George
small-
Michael and who's the Andrew Ridgeley?
Oh!
come on, George.
Who's the George Michael? Who's the Andrew Ridgeley? And Dec says to Ant, hi, George. So, you know, they are good pals. I think if you watch this, way back in 1996, when they're 21 years old, you can see this bright future just beckoning them because there's something so likeable about them and so genuine. It's authentic. There are no script writers. There's no one hovering over them. There's no agent telling me what I can and can't ask them. There's nobody scripting them or pushing them around. They're absolutely in charge of their own destiny. They're very young, but they are very experienced by this time. And they know just what they're going and what they're doing. And they're incredibly impressive, I think. And also just bloody nice blokes.
I don't like to blow me up.
Is this a marriage of equals or not?
Oh, it is, I think.
No, it is. I think there's not really a straight guy and a funny guy. I think we're just both quite sort of unfunny.
And one of the
Equally.
one of the writers for the show is Eddie Braben, who used to do
That's right,
Morecambe
yeah.
and Wise, and he's at least 500 or 600 years old, isn't he?
It's been really good fun working with Eddie and seeing all the scripts that he comes up with, because it's like you read them and you can really imagine sort of Eric and Ernie standing doing it.
It's just a bit like you feel that, you know.
I don't know if anybody knew this, that Eddie Braben, Morecambe and Wise's scriptwriter, was writing the script for Ant and Dec all those years later. It's quite amazing. So when people say there is a similarity, there's also a continuity and a kind of historical legacy bequeathed to Ant and Dec by Eric and Ernie.
Worthy, really, to sort of read the scripts, but there's some good stuff there.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and now you've got guests on the show with you.
Oh yeah, we've got loads of guests already. We've had Danny Minogue on, we've had Sonia on.
What did you make of Danny Minogue's boob job?
I mean, that's a very cheeky thing for me to say, what did you make of Danny Minogue's boob job? I'm not sure I'd say that today. I think it was an era before political correctness, before people had woken up to the idea of being woke. Today, I probably wouldn't say to Ant and Dec, what do you think of Danny Minogue's boob job? I might want to know, but I wouldn't ask, I don't think.
I wasn't even looking at it. I didn't even think of that. I just thought she was a fine actress. That's all I was worried about. Guys, small mind.
You share a flat. You share a flat together. Is that
do.
right?
We do.
Which is the one who leaves all the washing up undone in the sink?
Oh, that's that right.
Oh, everything's me this morning. Dear me.
Separate bedrooms, presumably.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And,
yes.
and one of you has a girlfriend then. Which
Oh,
one?
we
Is that a
both.
shock, like?
Well, I thought this was the girlfriend that dumped you originally, and you've now got back together again.
Oh, that's kind of both of us, really.
Oh, you're both fixed up now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have you been told by your PR company not to say that to stop all these 14-year-olds salivating all over you if,
Oh,
if they hear that you're fixed up?
They sort of suggested it, but we just didn't really.
Didn't take any notice.
See, this is key. They're only 21. I asked, did the PR company tell you not to say you've got a girlfriend? Because in those days, it was really, really common for boy banders, for example, to have to pretend they didn't have girlfriends, or even pretend they didn't have wives, or even pretend they didn't have children, because it was considered that, you know, the young fans wouldn't like it, it would put them off, so you had to pretend to be single so that they could imagine that you would fall in love with them. And I asked Ant and Dec, and was it like that for you? Did they tell you don't say you've got girlfriends? And they both said, yeah, they did suggest it, but we didn't take any notice. So they know exactly what they're doing. They're in charge.
So are you in love then?
Yeah.
Oh, both of you.
Are you in love? Yes. Very sweet.
So would you like to look into that
embarrassed now.
camera there and give a lovely pre-Christmas gooey message to your intended? So
You don't do that
No,
type of thing.
So what after this?
When you're
Ji-
from Newcastle, you don't.
Yes, you do. Jimmy Nail is now. Wait a minute. Jimmy Nail is now starring opposite Madonna in Evita, and a darn good job he does too. Do you
Yeah.
think that might be where you're heading?
he
Hollywood,
good, is he?
here you come.
Is he
He's very,
good?
very good.
Is he?
Yeah. Do you think you might be going there? Is that your next trip?
I'll wrap that in.
Hollywood. film.
I'd love to make a film. I'd love to make a film. That's
Right.
what we've just set up our own production company,
Gosh.
the Ant and Dec Productions Limited.
Just set up their own production company. They'd like to make a film. They've gone on pretty much to own the entire world, haven't they? They've really been absolutely straight up and down superstars from the age of, what, about 13 or something?
Fantastic.
So,
Congratulations.
that's what we'd like to do, is start going into
so
production. I think.
fresh-faced and so successful. Ant and Dec, it's been a real privilege. I've really enjoyed it.
And actually, it was a privilege, and it still is. I've worked with them lots and lots of times over the years, just bumping into them, which I've also done, funnily enough. I bumped into them in various places, including hospital foyers, all over the flipping place. And it always is a privilege because they're really, really nice. So this is just a lovely thing to see. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching it all over again and seeing Ant and Dec and knowing the men that they turned out to be. And there's so much for them still to achieve.